Alright. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning or afternoon, I bid to all. With the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are gladly able to gather here today for Deems Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I thank you all for joining us today and I welcome each and every one of you warmly. My name is Amir and I am your chairperson and timekeeper for today's debate. I would also like to introduce our very esteemed judge to all of you. We have Brother Hazim from Gumba. Before we begin, I will briefly explain the rules. Speeches should be 7 minutes in duration. Speakers exceeding this may be penalized, but should never be substantially less than this. A bell will be rung after every consecutive minute. After 6 minutes, the bell will be rung twice. After 7 minutes, the bell will be rung until the speaker stops. The duration of the reply speech will be 4 minutes. Speakers must use formal language. Inappropriate language is prohibited. Debate sessions will always start with the government's first speaker, Prime Minister, then followed by the opposition leader, Deputy Prime Minister, Deputy Opposition Leader, Government's whip, and ends with the opposition's whip. Each team is given 4 minutes to prepare their own reply speech, whereby it has a 4-minute duration for them to be presented as well. With the rules explained, we will now start our second debate of today. Okay. The motion before this House this day is that, assuming the technology exists, this House supports the idea of altering memories. The government team is MELEX, with Yasmin as the first speaker, Nuris as the second speaker, and Ryan as the third speaker. The opposition team is ECONSS. We have Erina as the first speaker, Najiha as the second speaker, and Azmina as the third speaker. The government's reply speech will be delivered by Yasmin, and the opposition's reply speech will be delivered by Erina. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Yasmin, from the government team to the floor to open the debate.
Excuse me, am I audible?
Yep.
Okay. I will begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a world where people are allowed to have the choice to remove memories that are affecting them negatively. That is the kind of world us on the government side want to support and propose in this debate today. So before I start my speech, I will be first defining the motion. I will be characterizing what the motion is about, and then I will be giving my argument. So first of all, we would like to define certain words in the motion. First of all, the word idea referring to the concept of implementing this particular thing, and altering meaning removing memories. We're only removing memories in this world. So how does this what can we see in our world that we're proposing here, ladies and gentlemen? First of all, most likely in our world, the technology of altering memories will be controlled in a way. It's also very likely that it would be widely available. However, the operation of it requires heavy training, and by which only someone like a neural technician would be able to know the roundabouts of removing memories and actually handling the technology itself. This is not something that can be utilized very easily. It's something that requires a lot of training and education. Thus, it's not very easily abused. Next, it's also very likely that this kind of technology will be applicable only to adults and be something that one must consent to and are able to choose for it, because this is something that is very, very serious and something that is not a simple matter, and thus it will be treated seriously. We can also assume that there will be a lot of screening, background checks, and reference of medical history to see if the people who want to undergo this process are suitable for it. Because, like I said before, this is something that's very serious, involving the removal of memories. Next, the records of the removed memories will also be likely to will also most likely be available for the person who has their memories removed, as this is something that should not be would not have been thrown away as easily. Thus, in our world, these people can refer to the records of the memories if they feel like they want to. Next, there also should be a clear explanation of the process and what to expect. As I said before, this is a very serious thing. And finally, there will also be a question regarding whether they would want the transcript of the memory if they want to know what happened, but not getting back that memory, just knowing what the memory entailed. Next, I will be moving on to my argument, which is people should be allowed to have a second chance in life. What exactly do I mean by this? Well, there are some people in the world who are held back by old memories and aren't able to change themselves. These kinds of memories are making them unable to function in society, unable to do things, or help maybe even make their lives a bit harder. So why is this true? Why should we allow people to have a second chance? So in our world, people can remove memories that are burdensome to them. An example of this would be something like traumatic experiences. In this world, something like someone who experiences a traumatic incident like experiencing a car crash would be able to remove that memory of being in the car crash, so they will be able to function in society, because it's very likely that once they experience something traumatic, they are unable to do anything in relation to what their trauma entailed. So, for example, someone who experienced the car crash might not be able to make themselves drive again, which is something that is troublesome for the people in our society. Allowing them to remove this memory as a choice allows them to be able to move on and continue to function in society as a normal person, and they have a chance of living their lives normally. They can also get a transcript of this incident, so they know that they were in a car crash, but they would not have the side effects of actually experiencing that car crash. Another thing would be moving on from just general bad experiences. For example, someone who experiences a breakup and both partners agree to remove memories of each other, so they are able to move on. This makes them so they are not constantly always thinking about their exes. They're not always depending on each other, and allows them to have a second chance. Not only that, it can also allow them to have a second chance with each other. Now, why is this good? Because this very thing allows people to be more overall happy in our society. The reason being is that they're not always tied into their bad memories that they had before, and instead they are given the choice to be able to remove them, so that they are able to function properly. They're able to live their lives independently from their trauma or bad experiences without having to always be held back by it. They're also able to learn through this because they are aware that this is their choice to make. They are making the choice of wanting to remove their memories, because this is a serious decision to make. And when they're doing this, they can learn that this is a serious thing, and that they can also refer to the records before and use that as a way to learn without having to actually experience it themselves and making them unable to live happily. Now, exactly why is this important? We on the government side want to help people function in society better. We want to protect their mental health, because we don't want them to always be haunted by the trauma and the bad experiences that they have gone through. And we want to increase their overall quality of life, so that they can do the things that they are unable to do before, that they can achieve the things that they were restricted to due to their memories. Like the example I gave to you before about the car crash. These people can now function. These people can do the things they could do before, but they were restricted by the memories. And that's why us on the government side genuinely believe that genuinely supports the idea of altering memories. And that's why we agree on this motion. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much to the first speaker from the government for your very delightful speech. Now, let's please welcome the first speaker of the opposition, Arina, to open the case for the opposition side.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Before I start, I just want to make sure that my audio is audible.
Yep, all good.
All right. I also want to clarify that because of internet connectivity, our team will be not owning our video so that we can avoid any lagginess.
Is that okay?
Is that okay?
Yep, sure.
Okay, now I will begin my argument in 3, 2, 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges, and respected opponents. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. Our debate motion presents a fascinating glimpse into the future. Assuming that technology exists, this House supports the idea of altering memories. While the potential benefits of memory alteration are intriguing, it is crucial to delve into the societal repercussions that might follow widespread acceptance of this technology. Thus, that is why we as opposition firmly oppose the motion. Before I get into my rebuttal, I would like to redefine a few definitions given by the government because I feel that they are misdefined. For example, the first definition I would like to define is altering. Altering, as the government said, they said that it is only deleting memories, if I'm not mistaken, removing memories. For us, altering is the process of making adjustment, modifications, or changes to the content, form, or characteristics of something. In the context of memories, altering may involve modifying the details, emotions, or associations related to a specific recollection. So it is not only removing. Next, I would like to define memories in the motion. So memories is a cognitive representation of past experience encoded and stored in the brain. Memories encompass various components, including sensory details, emotions, and contextual information, forming a subject account of an individual's past. I would also like to state our stakeholders clearly, as the government side did not state their stakeholders. So we as the opposition would like our primary stakeholders are the society as a whole. And with that, I would like to begin my argument with my rebuttals first. So firstly, the first speaker on the government side said that the technology would be widely available, but they did not justify how the technology would be widely available. So I'm not clear on that. Also, they also emphasized that the technology is not utilized easy. So if it's not utilized easy, then how can the society access this technology, or like how can they use it? Next, they said that it was only applicable to adults. So what is the use when most of like the society is also encompassed by young adults as well? People should be allowed to have second chance. And it also emphasizes the main point here in their argument was people should be allowed to have a second chance in life. But the question I would like to ask you as the judge, how many chances can a person have in their life? Like how many chances do people deserve? So this leads to the normalization of this technology, which can later be abused. So that brings me to my argument. Before we explore the depths of the issue, let us acknowledge the potential therapeutic benefits of that memory alteration could offer, such as aiding, like the government said, aiding in trauma recovery and enhancing positive experience. Yes, we agree with that, but the normalization of manipulating personal narratives. However, as we navigate this uncharted territory, we must consider the risk of normalizing the manipulations of personal narrative. Imagine a world where altering memories becomes a commonplace, where individuals modify their past to conform a societal expectation or personal gain. This could have pave the way for a dangerous shift in the foundation of our shared reality. When individuals routinely modify their past to conform to societal expectations or personal gain, the concept of truth becomes elusive. Shared narratives that form the basis of our collective understanding may become distorted, eroding the authenticity of historical records and personal stories. So, the widespread of adoption of memories manipulation could lead to a collective amnesia where significant events and experiences are selectively erased or altered. This historical distortion jeopardizes our ability to learn from the past, hindering societal progress and understanding. It imposes a risk of repeating mistakes due to skewed perception of history. That's why I would like to ask you guys, why is it important that we in school have to learn the subject history? It's because we have to go through things, no matter if they're good or bad, and learn from our mistakes in order for us as a society to develop for the better of the humanity. So I would also like, so in essence, the normalization of manipulating personal narrative poses a clear and present danger to the foundation of our shared reality, and it jeopardizes the principle of truth, authenticity, and collectively understanding of our past, potentially leading to fragment, manipulated, and vulnerable societal landscapes. The second argument that I would like to add on is this technology has potential to be exploited by criminals. Like for example, anonymous memory manipulation. In this world where altering memories is normalized, imagine the ominous scenarios of criminals anonymously wielding the power to manipulate their own memories or of those of key witness. This anonymous manipulation becomes a potent tool shielding wrongdoers from accountability and complicating the pursuit of justice. This can also lead to untraceable crimes because the covered nature of memory manipulation technology opens the door to a realm of virtually untraceable crimes where criminals armed with ability to erase the alter memories linked to illicit activities can operate with an unprecedented level of impunity. This challenges law enforcement to identify and prosecute wrongdoers, posing significant threat to security and the safety of our society. And that's why we believe that if this technology is implemented, it can actually potentially be a danger to society. Other than that, it can also cause blackmail and extortion. For the conclusion, as we discuss the normalization of manipulating personal narratives, it is vital to recognize the potential for dangerous shift in our shared reality when criminals exploit this technology. I would also like to present our burden of proof. How can you ensure their technologies will not get into the hands of the wrongdoers? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much to the leader of opposition. I'd like to call upon the second speaker of the government, Nuris, to continue the debate for the government side.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. I will start in 3, 2, 1. So today, us from the government side has already proposed our definition, and it is clear that our definition is different with what the definition is trying to be presented by the opposition. However, we do believe that there are still some clashes that can be found. So we are going, So I'm going to proceed first with my rebuttals, and the second is with my own points. So for the first one, the leader of opposition has challenged our definition by saying that we clarify that definition of altering memories is removing memories, and they argue that it is to adding or modifying the detail of the memories. I mean, our arguments are still applicable as it is consensual. And next, um, about second chance. About the leader of opposition saying that how many chances are we going to give them to relive the trauma, to relive every single bad trauma that they have gone through. I mean, we from the opposition side believe that government side, sorry, government side believe that why is it bad to have many chances? I mean, we as a human, we constantly are learning. And why is it wrong to take this as one of the alternatives to learn from our mistake? And next, the opposition also stated that altering memories are normalized, and that we cannot learn, if we decided to remove our memory, our memory, because we have deleted all of our history. And they also state that the truth is then distorted. So that's why we from the government side has proposed to have the records of the people who chose to remove their own memory, so that we can refer to them with the consent of the people who chose to remove their memories, to either to remember it back or for us to keep. And then if they decided to change their mind, the record is still with us. And for the question that has been opposed by the opposition about how can we avoid from the wrongdoers misusing this alteration of memories, imagine knives. We still use knives. People, killers, this is one of the most common weapon that has been used by killers to kill people, but we still don't ban knives, right? So we from the opposition side think that this question so we from the opposition side, government side, I'm so sorry, from the government side believe that by knives, they still have their own benefit. And so do we. By the alteration of memories, we still have tons and tons of benefits that can be provided from this. And now moving on to my points. As stated from the Prime Minister about giving the people having a second chance in life, well, I want to add that we are also giving them a chance to learn. And it is important for us to note that our alteration of memories are not obligatory. It is not something that everyone is forced to do. It is consensual. They are conscious of the choices that they made, because as stated by Prime Minister, is that this is something very, very serious, and it is something that they have to make by their own free will. And they are conscious to either choose to whether remain the memories that they already had, or to remove it and moving on from that. And it is not arguable that we cannot avoid pain. But however, our government, as the government side, our approach are a lot softer. They can learn. They are still able to learn even if they don't have the memory of the past, because we as human, we are really we are tempted to move on from things. And other than that, the process of taking lessons from experiences, whether removing the memory or not, by giving them a chance to remove, we are giving them a chance, we are giving them a choice to either run or bite their own bullets. We are offering them two solutions. So the opposition cannot argue that we are forcing this alteration of memories for the people, because it is their own choice. They can do the choice by their own free will. And why is this true? By giving them the ability to learn, to make this really big decisions, we are giving them a chance to think critically. And in this scenario, they would have to have this very deep consciousness to make a very, very big choice. And this is important because by thinking critically, they're aware that the consequences that they would have to go through if they decided to remove their own memories. And even if they regret that, they don't have anyone to blame but themselves, because it is them who consensually wants to remove their own memories. So we are stressing that our world is better than the world of opposition, because our world is able to give them a choice, while the opposition is not giving them a choice at all. um the opposition might argue that we are, like I said, we are obligating this alteration of memory, but we are not. We from the government side are really, really, we care about the mental health of the people. And the op might say that the resurfing trauma would be worse than learning to move on from the get go. We can still, like I said, we from humans, we are learning constantly, and either by removing, and even if you're not removing, you are still having to go through that very tedious process of moving on. So we from the government side are providing a much easier solution for you. And from for the and in conclusion, us from the government side, we stand firm today that assuming this technology exists, this house supports the idea of altering memories. And that's all from me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Iris, for your speech. I would like to call upon the second speaker of opposition, Najiha, to continue the case for their team. Please welcome.
Hello,
Yep,
am I
hi.
audible?
Yes.
Okay, so before I set my arguments, there are a few things that I want to counter with my rebuttals. The opposition is like, it's like contracting with their points. They like defending us. For example, like they stated that how can they learn, which is that it is like our point that exactly how can they learn, because they are altering their memories. We use memories so that we can learn from past mistakes. And also, it's not actually learning. It's just like they are running from their own problems. It is caused by they will get spoiled and they will not grow by their maturity and development. Also, also for example of knives, are you encouraging them to do criminal? Is it relevant for this altering memory? How is that relevant? I hope you can answer it. But now moving on to my argument is that if we encouraging this altering memory, we can lead to dependency on technology, which is that the technology we are encouraging technology to conquer us, give power to conquer us, conquer our mind, our brain, and our emotional. This can lead to they are not growing enough to solve their problem. That it's against a human nature. We are not robots that depending on technologies that we can put technologies on our brain to altering our memories. That if we don't want these memories to be deleted, to be in our mind, we can just delete it. It's not right. It's against our human nature. Like eventually we will overcome it. We will learn from the past mistakes and it will make us stronger. No, rejected. Okay, so proceed. Okay, this is also that other reason, which is like the kids, like they are still learning, growing and learning. That how can they learn from the past mistakes and if by altering memories, they also need to needs to grow around, needs to experience along their problems. Like they need to sharpen their problem skills, their problem solving. Like it is like against the nature. Like we have to run from our problems, not by solving it. It is naturally wrong because these are let's take our family as an example. Like family also a society. Like they also overcome their problems by like maybe it's instead of financial problems, like they also raising us. So if they run from their problems, maybe their case also will it be solved? Will be they are also affected. So will it be solved if they are running from their problems? Okay. Next. Moving on to the next. Sorry, no. Moving on to the next, which is social and economic disparities. If memory altering technologies become available, there may be issues of unequal access. This could lead to disparities where only certain individuals of group have the access to modify their memories, which is mean that this is non-friendly. Like this is like basically a discrimination, unfair to the society. Like of course, the advanced high technologies is high cost. Like the rich can afford it. But how about the poor? They also wanted to have the rights to use it, but they can't afford it. So this is basically a discrimination. As we know, okay, so the rich will get advantage to solve their problems, and eventually they are get richer and richer. But the poor, they are not developed. They are not development. They are far behind. So this is the reason why we cannot bridge the gap between the rich and the poor. So that's all of my argument today.
All right, so that's the end of your speech, yeah? All right. Thank you very much to Najiha for the second speech of the opposition side. Now, I'd like to welcome the third speaker of the government side, Ryan, to the floor.
Am I on?
Ryan, we can't hear you. All right. Yeah, there you are.
Is my line clear? Can you hear me?
It's a little laggy. Okay, no, it's good. No, it's fine.
So I'd like to begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. So as you can see, there is a clear distinction between the definitions as brought out by us, side government, and side opposition. Now, let me tell you something. Side opposition's world is a world that is worse than ours. They have given more power to to technology itself. They have added alteration, as in manipulation, the addition of memories, and also the removal. Whereas in our world, inside government, we have only stated that the technology we have defined the altering as removal of memories. So now what are they doing is basically they have basically stabbed themselves in the back in a way, because because the side opposition keeps on saying that, oh, what will we do about the technology? What all they're doing is they're keeping on questioning our solutions, whereas they have not provided any whatsoever. Now, moving on, there will be two parts to my speech. First, I will be moving on with the rebuttals and questions made by opposition. Secondly, I will be reinforcing the points as made by my colleagues. Now, first and foremost, moving on to the rebuttals, side opposition keeps on bringing up the topic of, oh, what about economic disparity? What about children? We have clearly stated that we will give this ability. Most likely this technology will be given to the adults. Like we said previously, there is no factor of children. Children. We did not. Like they said earlier. children will not be able to learn. Like we said previously, only most likely adults will be given a chance to do so. Where at the same time, children will be able to learn, and then they will be able to decide later on, as proven by my deputy prime minister. We are saying that they are given a, a choice, that they are able to learn about choices in the future, whether they want to remove those bad memories, whether they want to learn from them, bite the bullet or run away. Like I said, as said by my two previous um okay, now moving on. They have said side opposition suddenly brings out the topic of economic disparity, but whereas we have clearly stated that this is available or widespread, meaning that it is going to be like a normal commodity, like smartphones, for example. Like for example, I would like you to imagine where a person could easily go into a clinic and then they could just ask, oh, I would like my memories to be removed, signing a form of general liability, for example, and then boom, process. But the process has been elaborated by my DPM, so I'd like to move on further. Now they keep on touching about the topic of dependency, but we as humans, we cannot deny about evolution itself. Humans are going to move on, and as stated by my DPM, about the subject of knives. Knives were created first to hunt, and then they were misused to kill against each other. Same with technology like this. I mean, everything has a malicious nature to it. Like knives, for example, you can use it to harm others. But when you look at the benefits, the benefits greatly outweigh the small chances of it being misused. And like we said previously, we would like to assume that there are regulations and control. For example, like it will only be operated by neurotechnicians. Neurotechnicians take years to learn, and the process of removing it will be hard. Like we said previously, eh, um, this we have clearly shown you, and they also keep on bringing the topic of crime about how, justice and so on and so forth. But we are using this. We clearly, our motive on site government is using this as a remedy for medicine. We are not saying that, we're going to use this we're going to be an authoritarian government. We're just going to remove brainwashing and so on, break things and so on and so forth. Side opposition's world is clearly a darker world than our world. We on site government, we believe that there is hope in using this technology. We believe that the benefits greatly outweigh the so-called disadvantages of technology. Our world is a world better than theirs. Their world is a dystopian world where the power of mind altering not only extends to removing memories, but also in altering and manipulation. Now, I would like to pose that question to side opposition. Now, I would like to ask the same question. How about crime in your world? Now, imagine dictators using those things as weapons against citizens. Imagine wars sparked by altering memories. Imagine history being altered. And then you could change the course of history itself. Whereas removal, like we said previously, we have given you records. We have provided records. We will record those memories and store them. Now it is up to the so-called patient or client whether for them to remove or read those memories again, and they can take lessons from those memories. Now I would like you to think about these two worlds. A world where we are giving them a second chance to live, a second chance to learn, albeit it being the dependency of technology is going to be increased. Obviously, we cannot deny the fact, and also the pain is still going to linger. But at least we are giving them a chance, because, well, everyone, if you ask the question that if I turn back time, like, and to fix your mistakes, would you do it? Most probably, people will say yes. People will go back in time to change their fate. Now, in some ways, our solution is like that. We are giving them a chance to restart at life. We are giving them a chance to learn, to not repeat the same mistakes. Like the saying goes, ignorance is bliss. Sometimes, not all the time, ignorance is bliss. Now, what side opposition keeps on pushing the narrative that this thing is very evil? Of course, obviously, we cannot deny the fact that they did acknowledge the benefits of said technology, but they have not provided a solution to the very problem itself. Whereas we, side government, have envisioned a world where it's controlled, envisioned a world where these things are controlled only by people who know what they are doing, not by some random layman on the street who controls the joystick and clicks on buttons to remove memories and so on and so forth. We have told you clearly, in order to abuse this technology, this will be a very complex technology. In our worst case scenario, there side government, there's going to be increase in crime, there's going to be economic disparity, but isn't that already existing in the current status quo? In our best case scenario, on the other hand, people will be happy. People will be given a second chance. In governments, inside opposition's worst case scenario, I mean, it's going things aren't going to change. Whereas in their best case scenario, uh, whereas in their best case scenario, in their worst case scenario is going to be a dystopian world. Whereas in their worst case scenario is going to be a dystopian world. Whereas our best case, I'm sorry, but what I'm trying to see overall is that uh, our world is a better world than theirs. Thank you. That's all from us. We stand.
All right, thank you very much to the government whip. Last but definitely not least, I welcome the opposition's whip, Azmina, to the floor.
Okay, so before I begin, I want to make sure, is my voice audible?
Yeah, Ken?
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, the honorable judge and the respected government. So before I before I begin my rebuttals and their argument, I would like to again repeat I think like they misunderstood the definition of altering, because in the motion they mentioned altering, not removing. Altering can be defined as modifying or adjusting or changing the content. It cannot be specifically removing, because the motion did not specify it removing. And also they also keep on mentioning about that by alteration of memories can predict the future, because they can decide which memories to be discarded, to be modified. But in the motion they stated memories can be defined as past events, not the future predictions. Okay, so now I'll jump into my rebuttals. So as the first speaker, they mentioned that they can remove memories that is burdening them. But the second speaker mentioned that by alteration memories, we are opening the rooms for them to learn. But by altering memories, how are they going to learn? How the society, how the people will learn? The advancement of technology set the barrier for them to actually learn from their past mistakes, because it's burdening their mind. So they decided to discard it, to modify it, to delete it from their minds. So how are they going? The question is, how are they going to learn? So you said that they deserve the chance to learn, but the implementation of this technology, we eventually hindered them from learning. Okay, because they removed the memories already, so they cannot learn from their lessons. They cannot learn from the previous and past events, this past traumatic events. Okay, so moving on to the second speaker, they also mentioned that we have knives and there are still criminals. So, okay, I got a point. We have knives and the criminals use the knives for killing. And by having this technology, by having this memories alteration, we are actually encouraging the criminals to commit crime, because they have another resort to remove the proof for them, so that they will not get convicted. Okay, meaning to say here, you committed crime, the criminals killing using the knives. This is the scenario mentioned by the second speaker of government. Okay, you use the knives for killing. And after that, by this implementation of memories alteration, you after you killing people, and then there is a witness, and you know that there is a witness for that crime scene, and then you purposely alter their memories, you purposely modify their memories using this technology advancement. So meaning to say here is the government is encouraging the people to actually commit more crime, because this technology exists. So they can alter the memories of the witness, so they will not get convicted. Yes, so the police officers, the legal institutions cannot find proof, and justice cannot be served. This eventually lead to society lives in danger, because the criminals are still free. Yes. And the criminal is still living and free among us. They are all among us. And justice can never be served. And this will eventually lead to complications in legal procedures. Okay, because the memories has been altered. There is no alibi. There is no witness. Okay, so moving on also to the, I will be back to the first speaker. They said that they can remove memories that is burdening. I know they mentioned about the mental health. So I would like to relate it with my second speaker of opposition argument. We stated that the dependency on technology, and the first speaker of the government stated that for the mental health and for mental well-being of the society of our people, they want to implement this technology. So basically, by having high dependency on technology, is it good for our mental health? Okay, meaning to say here, you might discard, you might alter the memories of those past and traumatic events you had in the past, but are you really healed? Because by any possibilities, you are the human, you have emotion, you have your inner, you have spiritual well-being to be taken care of. So meaning to say here, and physical as well. So meaning to say here, by altering the memories, you might, you can cure, you can heal your mind only. So your mind heal first before your body. So you are not actually recovered. You are modifying your memories and you are not recovered. So meaning to say here, it's not, it this not go this misaligned with the point that stated by the first speaker of the government, because your whole body experience the trauma, like the car crash. Your whole body experience the trauma. The scars are not healed yet, but your mind forget about it. Is it? Okay. So okay, so I will also touch the social and economic disparities. The third speaker mentioned that we want to develop the the technology that involves neurotition by and that goes aligned with the motion. Is it? Okay, but the question is, if only the rich that is accessible for this, uh, if only the rich that is accessible for this technology, is it going to be fair? Our main point and our stakeholder, our main purpose of the opposition is to protect our primary stakeholder, which is the society. So is this not fair? And for the equality of the society, okay, so for the equality of the society, is this not fair? Because the poor remain stagnant. They are still in the position where they don't have power, and the rich will eventually abuse the power. And the criminals cases have the tendencies to increase. Okay, and for the economic, on the economic parts, do we have the manpower to develop the technology? Okay, so before I end my speech, I would like to remind the honorable judge, the government did not answer my first speaker of opposition burden of proof, which how can you ensure this technology did not get into the wrong hands? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much to the final speaker for the opposition side. Now it is time for the preparation of reply speeches. Both of you will be given 4 minutes to prepare. Please use the 4 minutes wisely. And that's the bell. It is now time for the reply speeches. We will first start with the opposition. Please welcome the opposition summary speaker, Arina.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Is my
Salam.
audio okay?
Yep, all good.
Okay. So I would like to begin my reply speech in 3, 2, 1. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, to conclude our debate, I would like to reiterate that the government side, although they imply that their world is better than ours, we believe that our world is a world where justice can be served and a world that understands the motion correctly, because we believe that the government side does not understand the motion, as they again did not understand correctly the concept of altering, as they refer to altering as only removal of memories, as well as they do not understand the definition of memories as well, because in order for a memory to happen, they have to experience the memory, they have to experience the event. So technically a memory is a past event, but they implied that the technology can predict the future. They implied this because they said that the society or the people that use this technology can pick and choose what memories they can keep and what memories that they can discard. In order for someone to pick and choose pick and choose a situation to learn from, that means that the technology has to predict the future. So we firmly believe that the government does not understand the motion, and we believe that we in our world, our also we would like to iterate that they did not answer our burden of proof to ensure us or to make us confident that this technology cannot get in the hands of the wrong people and get into the wrong hands. So through this, we believe that in our world can this technology can contribute to the we believe that in their world that this technology can contribute to the increasement of criminal cases, and in our world criminal cases can be just can find justice, because in their world this they technically encourage by not stating who their stakeholder is. They're kind of they're supporting or protecting criminals, because criminals can get a hand of this technology and use it to alter or fabricate alibis and legal implications. This can complicate legal procedures, and justice cannot be served. Therefore, uh, directly uh, directly endangering the society, because the society lives in constant fear, not knowing who is a criminal and who is not, because the criminals can alter the society's memory into believing that they are innocent. We also like to iterate that this technology is very high cost and only benefits the rich and not the poor. As also they mentioned that it only to implement this to make this technology accessible, it needs neurotechnicians, which we think that the country is not ready enough to afford this, because that will imply a lot of students would have to study the specific major that we cannot determine that the students can afford it, or we cannot determine the manpower. Therefore, we would like to conclude our debate by reaffirming our stance on this motion, which is we oppose the motion that the implementation of this technology or of altering memories should exist to protect the society as a whole. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'd like to welcome the last speaker of the government, Yasmin, to sum up for the team and the debate as a whole.
Am I audible? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. The opposition side in this debate today have had so many misunderstandings, not only regarding our points, but also regarding the definitions of the of that we have given them today. So first of all, I would like to highlight what they have done wrong and why we have actually won this debate today by giving actually solid arguments. First of all, the opposition had challenged the definition, which we have actually clarified that our arguments are still valid even in their world, because the change of definition doesn't matter, because we have already had screenings, we already had consent, we already established this in the very first speech. And then they also did not fight in the definition that we gave. Instead, they assumed that only their definition will be applicable, and thus they've only fought in that definition. In opposition's world as well, is that there's no solution to the issues that were brought up by the speakers on the government side. We have brought up issues about mental health and people who cannot move on, and the old suffering that people are experiencing, and yet they ignored that, and there is no solution to that. They did not bring up any solution for that. And also, they say that they're stakeholders of society, but yet they don't really focus on the benefit of society based on the problems that we have already brought up. They also mention about they also ignore the fact that this technology is not easily operated. We have already mentioned this before about the neurotechnicians having to study a lot and go into real depth regarding it in order to be able to access it. And they in the reply speech, they mentioned that neurotechnicians are some people who are like suddenly a small minority, despite the fact that it is in fact a science stream subject which will most likely be popular. Then they also mentioned about people. They also mentioned about lost history and the false truth, despite the fact that we have already established that this most likely, the chances are that there are records regarding the lost memories that it can be used as reference in the future in order to make sure that history is preserved and the truth is protected. And they also mentioned about economic disparity. And like our speakers have already said, that the idea is that it is widely accessible. It's something that you can access easily, and it's not that difficult to access, but what is hard is to handle it. Then they mentioned about the dependency on technology and how people can grow in that. And then the thing is, people can still learn through the records that we mentioned will most likely exist in our world. And as mentioned by my second speaker, we've talked about how there will be records regarding their memories, and they can learn from that. And opposition also doesn't, as I said before, opposition doesn't address the people who will suffer. They all said that this technology is bad, and it's bad to depend on this technology, but they don't explain how they're going to help the people who need to depend on this technology. Never mind. Then also on our side, on the other hand, we've talked about second chances. We talked about how people can move on, they be happier, and then we have a solution for people who are unable to move on from certain trauma. We can also help people learn, as stated by my second speaker, that they can learn through the records without actually having to experience it themselves, because it is a traumatic experience, and we don't believe that they have to go through something so traumatic in order to learn a lesson. And then they can also learn the fact that the choice, the alteration of memories is a choice that they must make and must think about seriously, and that is why it is something that they can learn and take benefit from. Because of that, we on the government side genuinely believe that we have presented a better case, and that we should win this debate because our case is more solid than the opposition. With that, I rest my case. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much to the government. Okay, so the debate is over. Thank you very much for everyone joining. This round is a silent round, so there will be no announcement of the results or an oral adjudication. I hope everyone is clear on that.
Okay, thank you
Yes.
so much. Will you know when the next round will begin? And how long is our
It
practice?
should be 2:30. If there are any updates, we will let you know in the group. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
For now,
Maybe leave
everyone can head to LRA1 to get your lunch. All right. Thank you, dearest judge. No problem. Thanks, Amin. See you later.